That's why they think those of us that choose to spend the winter here are a bit nuts.
Well, I was going to ask that question a little further down the line.
Well, at the end of February, the last of the summer folks left, and a few of us went outside to wave at the plane as it went by, and there will be nothing coming this way till August. So it's a matter of you use your smarts and you stay safe till then, because things can happen very quickly here. The conditions are very extreme, and if you get a little careless, if you try to break some of the rules that they have in place for your safety, death is a real possibility. People have died here, and there's nowhere to go till August.
Then your life support systems have got to be really good ones, and I'm sure very redundant. What kind of buildings are you in?
We're actually in buildings that remind me of a military base, or, I was born and raised in Pennsylvania, and it looks to me often like a kind of a Pennsylvania mining town. Just very, very plain buildings, very functional. It was largely built in the 50s by the U.S. Navy. It was originally a U.S. naval station. So it's that government look. It's got some Quonset huts, some dormitory-looking buildings.
Do they retain the heat pretty well?
Yes, everything's really well insulated.
I would imagine. All right, let's get to the how come you're not crazy part. I mean, going down there to a place where you can't come back, there's no plane, there's no train, there's nothing, you're just plain there, as you say, until August. Why would a person choose to do that, Mike?
Well, I think everybody has his own reasons. But what I've noticed of the folks that I've met down here, most places I've lived, I've been kind of the oddball, the one that likes to see everything and do everything. And what you find down here is all of those people from all over show up here, because it's just one of those very special places. It's one of the most beautiful places you could ever imagine. It's very, very rare to get a chance to come to a place like this, and we're all very honored at the fact that we were chosen in our various fields to be a part of the U.S. Antarctic program.
Of course.
And to get to come to this place where very few people that have ever been on the planet have gotten to come.
Indeed. I'm looking at McMurdo, and it looks like it's very close to the ocean. How close are you?
Not quite spitting distance, but I can see the open water from where I'm speaking to you right now.
You can see the open water?
Right.
Wow.
And the open water, what we call the ice edge, is where the open water meets the ice, is a very fluid thing. And this time of year, as the ocean is beginning to refreeze, and I'll tell you, that's something to watch, is when one day you look outside and the ocean's liquid, and the next day you look outside and it's solid. It kind of drives home where you're at.
Does it get solid enough to walk on?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I believe you were in the Air Force at one point, weren't you?
That's right.
You know a bit about aircraft.
Yes.
The seasonal ice right here by McMurdo, I mentioned that the Ross Ice Shelf itself, the permanent ice, is just about 2 miles down the road.
2 miles.
And that's where it's 300 feet thick, and that part doesn't really melt away seasonally. But where we're at is traditionally the point where the water comes to, which is why all of the early explorers chose this spot to embark. The seasonal ice will get to be about 6 to 8 feet thick, I'm told. And believe it or not, they, this past summer, landed a fully loaded C5.
On that ice? Oh, my goodness.
On a 6 feet thick piece of ice.
How far out does the ice freeze from the shore eventually, or in the dead of winter? How far out does it go?
Well, I'm not sure if you're aware, but McMurdo is actually on Ross Island, which is an island just off the coast. I can see the continent of Antarctica from this same window I'm looking at right now, and it's just across the water. But it will freeze solid between the island and the continent. And the seasonal ice will go for hundreds of miles. It will break up each year.
Hundreds of miles. My God.
Yes.
So, yes, I see the water in between you and the continent itself, and I can see that you would probably be able to look out your window and see it on a good, clear day.
Right. The area between the island and the coast of the continent freezes solid. That's where they set up the seasonal runway and land those planes. This time of year, actually when we're still having flights, they move it down over onto the permanent shelf just to make sure. But for most of the summer, the planes were landing on what I'm looking at now is open water.
All right. Well, you know, of course, or I'm sure you know because you sent me some of the links, that a big part of you, or the Ross Ice Shelf, I mean a really big part, just actually last night they were showing us satellite pictures of the crack, the fissure. And then today I got on the net and bingo, this gigantic piece, 183 miles by 22 miles, broke off from the Ross Ice Shelf. Is that right?
Yeah, it's about the size of Connecticut, they tell me.
Connecticut. Actually, 4,247 square miles. That's a really, really big piece of ice.
Yes, it is.
What's likely to happen? Is it moving away now, or will it kind of stay with you for a little while, or what happens?
Well, it's about 200 miles from here, from what I read in that same press release. The National Science Foundation, emailed all of us down here, so we know what's going on.
Right.
You don't know. There's folks that are doing some computer modeling right now, trying to estimate where this is going to go. And I'm sure it depends on weather conditions, because which way the wind is blowing and the currents are going have a lot to do with that. I guess there is some possibility it could flow this way, or it could break up some before it goes out to sea. At this point, it just broke off, and as far as I know, they're still waiting to see what it chooses to do.
I wonder if there were any scientists dispatched from McMurdo or elsewhere, of course it's a whole international area you're in, to observe the breakaway of the calving of this thing, and there must have been some cracking sound when it went.
Yeah, I'm not aware of anyone over there. I can tell you no one left from McMurdo, because again, we're closed off for the season. There's nobody coming or going
Season
from
closed.
this part of the continent. And there might have been somebody at a base closer over there, but really with the weather the way it is, 40-knot winds and minus 60 wind chills, travel by any means is pretty risky. So I would imagine they just use their satellites. But again,
if you had
my estimation.
Yeah, if you had to travel, Mike, what kind of vehicle would they use to travel?
Well, we have all kinds of things. I may be a very fortunate person indeed. If the weather clears up by this weekend, I might get to take a snowmobile trip up to Mount Erebus, which is a volcano which shares the island with us. I'm not sure if you knew about that.
An active volcano?
Yes, it's not spewing lava at this point, but they have researchers up there watching the fumaroles.
All right, Mike, hold on. Stay right where you are. We'll be right back. That's Mike at McMurdo Station in Antarctica. I'm Art Bell, and this is Coast to Coast and Beyond AM.
Tonight featuring a replay of Coast to Coast AM from March 23rd, 2000.
It certainly is. I'm Art Bell, and we are, I believe, doing a commercial radio first. We're talking to Mike at McMurdo Station at Antarctica. Absolutely incredible, and hopefully he's still there. We'll get back to him in a moment. Mike at McMurdo Station, down at the very bottom, and I mean the very bottom of the world. Get your globe out and take a look. Well, all right, I guess, once again, a commercial radio first. We've got Mike, who is the chef at McMurdo Station at Antarctica. And I think he's still on the line. Are you there, Mike?
I'm still here.
All right. This is absolutely amazing. Another thing that we have all been wondering, and there may not be an answer for it, you're at the bottom of the world, and the satellites that would allow communications are geosynchronous at the equator. And so I can't imagine how you're talking to me, Mike.
Well, I don't understand it myself. I mentioned in my email that in terms of some of the technical parts of the whole situation down here, I'm fairly ignorant. I show up, I make some good food, and go home most days. I try to learn what I can, but things like satellite placement are a bit beyond my scope.